I'm okay. You can do it. Today we get probably the intro and everything. Mike Kelly never remembers any of that stuff. Well, if you can't get it, don't worry about it.
I got it. Perfect. Perfect timing.
I'm really struggling, and I'm just looking for help.
I got it. I loaded it 5 seconds before it fired.
It's awesome.
That was like a quick. It's never happened this quick.
What?
Jumping on like right now. Usually we got like 2 more minutes.
That's what I was looking for. Recovery Talk help.
Have a problem? Know someone who does?
Here we go.
828-262-1567. This is Rika.
Good morning. It is Thursday, 10:30, and this is Recovery Talk. My name is Jim Quigley. I'm your host. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the week, being here. And I'm actually, you know what, I'm always excited about every guest that comes on here. We always have someone bringing us a good perspective about their experience with substance abuse and recovery and transformation and sobriety and all that stuff. And you know, for those of you that are hearing me on the radio, listening on 96.5 and 1450 AM WATA, you know, that's what this show is all about, trying to bring some hope and help for hurting people. You can always call into the show if you have a question or anything. That rarely happens, but I do get people in town and on Facebook that tell me they're listening and they're being encouraged by the show. This show is brought to you. We have a sponsor that makes this show happen. That is Freedom Auto Tech. Freedom Auto Tech is a local auto shop here in town, ready to service all of your needs, your vehicle needs. You got a check engine light on, something knocking under the hood, give them a call, 828-355-4434. That's 828-355-4434. Freedom Auto Tech has had a real big uptick in the last month in business. So they're looking for people to get on their schedule. Know that they're open on Saturdays at 6 days a week, and you can get a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty on the parts that you get through Freedom Auto Tech. And you know, those parts and that warranty covers the parts and labor, and it's nationwide. So you break down in Texas with a part that's been replaced by Freedom Auto Tech, and it gets fixed for free if it's under warranty. All right, so like I said, real excited about today's show because my friend Jarrod Banner has blessed us with his presence. It was a little bit of a late invite to the show, and he jumped right at the opportunity. Say hi to everyone, Jarrod, on Facebook. You can wave and say hi to the radio world.
Hello, radio world.
So I'm excited for one because Jarrod is a local guy, grew up around here, and spent a lot of time down in my hometown too, in Palm Beach County, Florida. But in my opinion, and I hope this doesn't offend you, Jarrod, you're a mountain guy, man. You are a mountain guy. You know, he can tell you a lot of things, a lot of unique things about these hills, and I've really appreciated getting to know you. Jarrod is going to take us through his story here. So take it away, my friend. Why don't you start just sharing, like, you know, how it all started? How's Jarrod's life formed from the beginning, my friend?
I was born in Banner Elk in '78. Banner Elk Hospital. My mom and dad busted up. I forget. I think 3 years old, and she took me down to Boca Raton in Palm Beach County down in South Florida, and mom and dad, you know, they drunk and whatever then. It was the 80s. It was what it was back then, but mom tried to shelter me and keep me away from things, but ever since I was little, I'd always get around the crowd that was into something, and I mean, that was the 80s in South Florida, so I was around, I seen things, I mean, I'm not allowed to say over the phone, but over the radio code, that.
Yeah, you could talk about the substance. Yeah, I appreciate you checking.
It was cocaine everywhere down there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was what it was, but I was young and always known with the older crowd, so.
There's actually movies about this, the Cocaine Cowboys and stuff like that.
It it was wide open down there, and I mean, I was around the big things, and then when I come up here in the mountains, you know, there was a lot that got moved up here back then.
How old were you when you like made the transition? You were down in the mountains, down in Boca, and then you came up here.
I mean, I'd come up when my grandmother died in the mid '80s. I think I was 7. I got to come back up for the I'd stay all the summers and all Christmas break and Thanksgiving break. But other than that, I lived down there till I was 14 before I moved back up for good.
So you were basically going to school down there,
Yeah.
and then spending all your time off school up here.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then finished I did all my high school up here.
Okay.
But I mean, I tried cocaine before I tried pot. I was 11 first time I tried cocaine. I was 6 first time I drank alcohol. I remember it plain as day. I remember the feeling it gave me and everything. And I mean, when I was 12, I was around liquor, around people making white liquor. I started messing with it because the older guys trusted me and they'd help me, let me come in the woods with them. I mean, I was in the game. I was an alcoholic the first drink I took. I mean, I liked it that good. I handled it all the way up until my early 20s, and
When you say you handled it, what does that mean?
it didn't affect my school, didn't affect work. You know, I didn't have any legal problems, anything like that. And in my 20s, or no, my late teens, early 20s, you know, I was around as rough a crowd as you can get, and there's a lot of bad things happening involving the trade. That's, you know, it is what it is in that drug trade and liquor trade. And one of my friends got killed, and you know, I don't know if my brain snapped or something. And from that day on, I couldn't drink, and from then on, I started blacking out and just, you know, having problems with it. And then problems with local law enforcement, and just started getting in trouble and ended up in prison. In and out. Not for, I never got caught. I never got caught with drugs. I was around a crowd that I learned how to sneak by without getting caught. But I mean, God was catching me. But it was always drinking. I never got arrested once. I'm allergic to alcohol. I break out in handcuffs every time.
So you can literally trace back into your 20s a traumatic event. One of your friends, would you say like one of your best friends?
Yeah, he's like a brother.
Like a brother. He got killed from that underbelly world of dealing and all of that goes on. He gets killed, and from that point on, you started to become a blackout drunk.
Yep.
So, you know, there's a lot to say there. You know, I mean, people constantly are talking about, you know, substance abuse, and you know, substance abuse. It's as commonly you've heard it because you've been in and out of AA rooms and programs. We'll get to that part in a second. But they always say that the abuse itself is just a symptom of a problem, right?
Oh, yeah.
So there's a root to the abuse. What is it? And you know, in general, I would say in general, the root is the individual's inability to deal with life, okay? Or their unhealthy way of dealing with life. So, because basically substance abuse ends up becoming the way you do it. It becomes your go-to, it becomes
Crutch.
Well, yeah, it's a crutch, but it also is legitimately what you are doing in order to try to deal, you know. And yeah, it turns into something you can't literally stop doing because of the physical aspect of the clutches that gets in you. But basically, you know, you're having a hard time interpreting what's happening to you in life, or or thinking about the future and where you fit and your purpose, all these internal questions that every human being struggles with inside. But it's pretty interesting. You can actually pinpoint for you. It's like, when that happened in my life, and I don't know if you've probably thought about it, like when that happened, like the only way I knew to deal with it was to drink until I couldn't even remember, you know?
Yeah, I never tried to drink just for, never tried to drink leisurely or, you know, just to socially or anything like that. I mean, I tried to get as drunk as I could, and I never got caught up in this meth epidemic that's going around now. I don't know, I've taken it, but it never appealed to me, the effect it had. But I mean, I can remember when I do cocaine, I try to do as much as I could to where I honestly believe cocaine and meth it's a portal to the demon world. That's one of the main devil's tools to destroy us, because, I mean, and you can ask anybody that's addicted to that stuff, they see, I don't know, people try to say it's a hallucination, they call them shadow people, this, that, and other. I honestly believe it's demons, because God protects our eyes from not being able to see the demons that are out there. And I can remember when I take cocaine, I'd try to see, I wanted to see that, those shadow people. When I take it, and I'd try to take as much as I could that quick to do that. But it's definitely the devil's drugs.
I tell you, I guess you could say, you know, I'm an ordained minister, and I'm probably an amateur theologian. There are a few doctrines that I really don't have I'm not come down onto the fence about or anything like that, and I'm not trying, but I'm gonna tell you, in the position that I've been in dealing with people in substance abuse, I've been up here for almost a decade, and then I was involved in recovery and ministry for 6 years also at one point. This is a consistent theme. I get people that are on, you know, these uppers, you know, like methamphetamine, that puts you in a psychosis type, and I hear a lot of reports of people seeing demons and seeing evil and experiencing evil that still keeps them up at night sometimes. So you're not the first person that's ever told me about stuff like that. So my friend Braxton's over there giving me the signal. We're coming up to a quick break here, so folks, stay with us, and we'll be back and pick up Jarrod's story when we come back. Sorry, you're doing great.
Oh, okay.
So what he's doing over there when he's doing this, he's telling me there's 5 minutes till commercial.
Okay.
So just don't pay attention to Braxton.
Yeah, whatever I do, just act like I'm not here.
I can catch on pretty quick. Last couple of years, I pretty much work on set all the time around camera. So I've never really been around this type of thing.
So Margaret says hi. Hi, Margaret.
Hello, Margaret.
My sister says hi. She's down in Florida, Jupiter. Melissa. Got a few people watching.
Am I still on Facebook?
Yeah. So this is us. That's what people can see on Facebook. It's delayed. So like you'll see, you know, after things happen, a minute or so, you know. Maybe it's 30 seconds.
Covered in sawdust.
Yeah.
Or visit them online at discoverycbg.com. Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Can you hear pretty good in your earbuds?
Yeah.
Okay. I had some difficulty with mine. Mine's always like you have to put it in like halfway to get good audio. But whatever.
I can't find. I told you I have the same headphones. Did it come with that cord?
Yeah.
That you're plugged in?
Blackweb headphones, yeah.
Maybe it's in the box. I just haven't pulled it out because I don't remember having that cord. Was that a microphone on it?
Yeah, that's right here.
Huh.
They're nice. Got them at Walmart, yeah.
I like them. Definitely.
I use them for Bluetooth all the time to go jogging.
That's all I do is Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Put them on when I mow the lawn.
Yeah, I do that too.
I just go to town. I need you to come out to my house.
Yeah, there
I'm
you go.
trying to get as much as that because I mean it's still feeling good up there, but
Yeah.
when it locks, it's locked. You know?
No, yeah, I totally understand. Yeah.
As much, and I waited till the end to get up where I'm at. I'm in the honey hole now, so
It's hard to get people to envision what I want at my house. I think you would be able to do it. So I got guys out there today weed eating, and doing a little trimming with some chainsaw, just some overgrown bushes and stuff. You've not been out there, right? Okay.
I bought another one yesterday. $1,000
On a chainsaw?
chainsaw and equipment to get the trees down there close to the house.
30 seconds.
And I had one hung, so I had to get it quick yesterday. I was gonna wait. I had one dangerous.
How many trees do you think you've cut down so far, or harvested up there?
25.
That's it?
25, yeah. The money's good. You know.
Yeah. Here, maybe. There you go. Hey, welcome back to Recovery Talk. I'm your host, Jim Quigley. Hey, you know, if you've caught the show a little bit into it and you wanted to hear the beginning, you can always go to Facebook, and we have a page, Recovery Talk. Just look it up, and you can watch today's show or any of the previous shows that we've ever listed. And if you're not on Facebook, which, you know, more and more people are getting off the Facebook, you can always go to freedomfarmministries.org. And we have all the episodes posted there also. Just look for it in the tab, radio show, Recovery Talk, and you can watch today's or any of the previous episodes. But don't forget about our show sponsor, Freedom Auto Tech. They're the local mechanic shop here in town, ready to service all of the needs of your vehicles. Brake specials currently, AC specials. You know, you could pull your car in there and say your AC is not blowing as cold as it used to. And they'll hook it up, and about 45 minutes later, as long as they're able to reclaim that Freon and put it back in there and not find any major leaks or problems, you know, you got blowing cold again, ice cold. So I had a friend I just went to Concord with yesterday. He got his car done before our trip, and his AC was not working well, and now it's working beautifully. So anyway, give him a call, 828-355-4434. That's 828-355-4434. Freedom Auto Tech. They're open Monday through Saturday. That's a unique thing about Auto Tech. A lot of shops not open on Saturdays. And 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty comes with the parts. So that's nationwide parts and labor. So you get a part replaced here, drive cross-country, break down in California. That if it's a warranty issue, then the parts and labor will get fixed in California. I wonder what they charge in California for cars. Probably very expensive.
They're in New York.
Yeah. Anyway, so Jarrod, again, my friend Jarrod Banner is on the show with us today, and he was telling us, I think where we left off basically is your friend passed away, was killed, and you started to drink blackout drunk, and that's when you started to have lots of small run-ins with the law. So take it from there. You're in your 20s at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean...
In and out of jail?
Yeah.
Finished high school?
Yeah, I graduated in 96, and, I mean, I was thinking about college, or... At the time, I forget, there was a recruiting office from Morgan called me. They offered me college money to go in the Army, and I told them that it was peacetime and I wasn't going in the Army, but if they had bad enough problems that they had to bring the draft back, I'd volunteer for the infantry, but other than that, I wouldn't go. And
you are a wild man.
yeah, my dad called me my dad worked in the film industry as a greensman, and...
What is a greensman in the film industry?
Best way I can describe it is reverse landscaping.
Reverse landscaping.
Yeah, it's not like a traditional landscaping you do on a house. It's whatever the camera wants for, whatever scene and whatever set it is on a movie. kind of hard to describe. We'll go on, like if you're in a sound stage, you'll build a forest or whatever the art, whatever they want, you know, the bosses want for whatever the scene, you have to make it look like what it is.
So you helped out set up scenes, the
Yeah.
art in the background, in for movies. What any major movies that people would be familiar with that you worked on with your?
First one I worked was Chill Factor, and then I worked on The Patriot.
The Patriot.
Yeah,
I think everybody knows that movie.
And then Hannibal after that.
Hannibal.
Yeah, and
Is that the one where they shot at the Biltmore?
yeah,
Okay.
and then I worked on it was oh god, it was.
Tell me something real quick.
Farley
Were the
Brothers.
Biltmore shots? Was all that just drones just flying over and?
No, they didn't have that back then. It was the drones didn't come around till the late 2000s.
Because they had the
It was
scenes where the guy
helicopter.
was inside, like he was living in there. That was his house, but obviously that wasn't his house. And I don't think that was really inside the Biltmore. It's probably a scene.
If they went over top of them, it was probably a boom or something then. But no, everything on top was helicopter shots if it was like that. But I worked Shallow Hal, and then
Shallow Hal.
then I ended up going to prison for having a bad confrontation with one of the officers up Mabry County. Me and him didn't get along too good and had problems, and then
How long did you go to prison for?
a little over 2 years.
Was this for altercation on a police officer? Is that what they would call it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was. He's no longer a police officer. He didn't last long after I did. He was. I'm not going to get into all that. He wasn't a very nice man. That's all I can say. And
But at the same time, you were kind of out of your mind with substance abuse.
I played my part in it.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, he was in the wrong, I was in the wrong, so it worked out. But
I don't know if any of you guys have seen recently, like on the news, but the way those police officers in New York, they get people just running up on the street and dumping water all over them, just so disrespectful. It's like, man, and then they're just like walking away from the people because I guess they're not supposed to like contribute to an escalation, but I mean, they're literally people just like dumping water on the police officers in the middle of the street, and they're just like the police officers just like walking away, and it's just like, I don't think I could do that, man. I just don't think I could do that, you know. So anyway, look, I don't want to get lost in the weeds here about So you went to prison for 2 years because of you having issues with. He's no longer working, so.
yeah, and then it turned into a revolving door of, I got out, got a DUI, went back for 20 months on it, and then it was just a revolving door of, I'd be out. It was all drinking charges, and then.
What age are you this time around?
20, 26 maybe or something like that.
Okay.
And then
Man, the Patriots that old?
I just got out and I worked on Hunger Games, and I was doing good and working on it, but ended up going back. I was on probation, went to my dad's, and he hunts and stuff, and I was in his house, and his shotgun was there. He'd been bird hunting, and
Fell in with a gun.
Yep. So I go back, and I was right in the middle of work, and then when I got out, I went back to work on several more shows, and then, but I wasn't quit drinking. It was the movie business has changed to where, like when I was on The Patriot, you hear about Hollywood, this, that, and that. Yeah, it was condoned to take things to make you work harder, especially toward the end of the show, and you needed to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden these A-list actors start dying off. Now it's the opposite. If you want help, you get help. and I got good insurance on the movie business, so I've been to some pretty high class treatment centers that are, you know, it costs a lot of money to go, but my insurance paid it.
So when was the first time you went to a treatment center?
I went to Swain Recovery down there in Black Mountain, in that ADAT, and it was 40-day programs, and
How old were you?
24, maybe 25.
Okay.
And then I went to three of the prison rehabs inside the prison, and they were good as far, but in that environment, it's kind of hard to focus on recovery.
Sure.
You're more, you know, it's not a nice place in there. And then I went to the Pavilion down there in Polk County, and I learned a lot of medical knowledge of that place about the brain, you know, about addiction. Went to a place down there in South Florida, which was right on the beach. You know, it was Lauderdale by the Sea, big money, and I mean, I learned a lot. Went to AA, this and that, and then they always talk about the higher power, and it took me coming to where I'm at now to figure out. I always knew what the higher power was, but I had to figure it out.
How long ago was the last program you went to, or rehab you went to?
Lengthwise?
No, how long ago was it before coming to Freedom Farm?
Like 2 years. 2 years ago, before I came here, I went to that first at Blue Ridge down there in Ridgecrest.
Okay.
But I'd always cheat and pay money so I could do the 90-day thing instead of the long term.
Well, look, we're getting a signal break coming up, but we'll pick up we'll pick up you coming to Freedom Farm when we get back. So stick with us, folks. We'll be right back.
The High Country's information station, AM 1450 and 96.5 FM, WATA.
That is the one thing that I really like when Braxton does his show. I mean, you really produce it well. Put a little special touch to it.
You saying something?
I was saying that that's what I really like about when you do the show, is just your special touch to it. We don't get into this treatment with our friend Mike, but
Well, I'm glad I can do a little something.
yeah.
All right.
Carol Springer, Wilson's mom, she's saying she's proud of you. She's, loves getting to see these shows. Hi, Carol. Anna, Matt.
I like his parents.
Joe, if you're watching, what's up, brother?
Hampton's Body Shop and Wrecker Service has a brand new 60-ton rotator wrecker that will handle anything that needs to be towed, pulled, or lifted. Have you ever been bent out of shape? Don't worry about that either. Hampton's Body Shop and Wrecker Service has the new 21.
So we're about halfway done. So you're doing great, man. Don't worry about it.
Maybe I can help somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, people will watch this later if they're not watching and listening now. I mean, it's kind of a bad time to be doing this type of show. But
Otherwise it working still.
yeah, working. But
Here we go.
For $39.24. Hampton's Body Shop and Wrecker Service. Best of the best for 7 years in a row, thanks to the confidence of our friends and neighbors.
all right, folks, welcome back to Recovery Talk. This is Jim Quigley, your host, and I got my friend Jarrod Banner in the show with me today. And we're getting a couple people. Carol, thank you for that, on Facebook. Encouraging the story, and she's a regular listener, and we got a couple people that regularly watch us right on Facebook Live. So look, if you're listening right now and you missed some of the show, don't forget, you can always catch the whole show on replay through Recovery Talk is the Facebook page, or go to freedomfarmministries.org, and we post all the shows, today's and all the previous shows, on there also. So that's Recovery Talk on Facebook, and freedomfarmministries.org, where 2 places you can get the show. And also, don't forget about our show's sponsor, Freedom Auto Tech, local shop here in town, ready to service all of your mechanical needs for your vehicles. They have specials currently. You can get a $30 oil, a standard oil change for $30, in and out, 5 quarts of oil, and a filter. So go over there and get your oil change you need to. They'll get it done quick, and you can also get great service on your vehicles. 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty with parts. That's nationwide. So your car breaks down in another state, and it's a warranty issue on the part that you bought, that'll get covered through TechNet and Parts and Labor, wherever it is that you broke down. So give them a call, 828-355-4434. That's 828-355-4434. And don't forget, they're open Monday through Saturday. So 6 days a week, Freedom Auto Tech. My friend, Jarrod, so 2 years ago was the last time you went to a program. You were in the Black Mountain area, first at Blue Ridge. You said you used to cheat over there. How was it you used to cheat? You used to pay money to...
I mean, I could pay money instead of a long-term program.
Uh-huh.
I could pay out of pocket and get the same certificate for the judge.
Oh, okay. So
That
you're
I
just
could
going
get.
to get paper for judges.
Pretty much.
Okay. So what happened after that? Because I know that, I'm spoiling maybe a little story, you came here straight from jail.
Yeah,
So you went back to jail again.
Several times, and then I had to do a year in county for same thing. Drunk and stupid is what I call it.
Was this the mailbox incident?
Yeah, that was part of it that year. Yeah.
Okay. This is a funny story. I mean, it's not funny because you're out of your mind, but I've heard this one and it is a little bit funny.
New Year's Eve, I decided to walk down the road, and they were having some college party, and they invited me in, and I got way out there, and I was walking down the road, and I got into a altercation with the mailbox at the Cardinal Restaurant. And
Right on 105.
Didn't even know the law was sitting there following me the whole time. The police were behind me, and they were like, "Man, what's wrong with you?" I said, "I don't know."
So you're out there just wailing away on a mailbox in front of the Cardinal.
Yeah, I mean,
on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I mean, the mailbox didn't get along, I guess. And Judge McIntyre asked me why I had a problem with the mailbox, and I told him I didn't know. And I got extra 120 days for that. So, but I did good on that year. I went to did part of it in Ashe County, and they treat the inmates real good over there. They're real decent to them. And I read the Bible that year. I read the Bible from front to back. Got out and I was doing good, and honestly, I came out and it was like when a hurricane came through when I came home, because guys I knew that they were literally millionaires in the nursery industry, and this methamphetamine epidemic, it's hit everywhere, but local and small area, you get to see it more at a personal level. Man, they lost everything they had, and they had shrubbery that was all grown up, and I was like, what in the world? And I had some money put back, so I ended up buying a bunch of leasing some land and buying the plants cheap on deposit, cleaning them up to move them, and I made it, let's see, about 8, I was sober for 17 months, 7 months out of being locked up.
Mm-hmm.
And I consider my jail time, because they have fruit in canteens, so I know how to make alcohol if I really wanted to.
Oh yeah, people that say that you can't count jail time as sobriety time, they just don't realize that it's you can get drunk and high in jail just as easy as out here. Probably even easier, because you know, you got all these schemers. It's all all you got to do all day long is think about stuff like that.
Yeah. So, and then once I took that first drink, and I remember I don't even know why I took it. I didn't have no bad day, no good day, nothing happened. Just, well, I know it was the devil popped up in my head, and I took a drink, and it was over from there. I made it, I think, 3 days, and I was back in jail for resisting arrest and just being drunk and stupid.
So just to go over that. So here it is. You're 17 months from the last time you used anything. You have a lot going for you. You've done some investments. What we haven't got into is how skilled you are in nursery work. You can't see over the radio, but those of you on Facebook, he's got sawdust on him because he actually came out of the job site to come over here, and he's going right back. Right now he's harvesting bark, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, because you're actually doing that as a partial give back to the ministry. So we really appreciate that. But it's interesting. You have everything going for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the future is bright. I mean, like the old song, you know, you had to have shades. It's so bright, right?
Yeah.
You're able to take advantage of other people's misfortune, in that probably getting these plants, and you're ready to resell them and probably make a bundle off it all. And just when things couldn't get any better, without anything bad happening to you for no reason whatsoever, you decide to drink. And then 3 days later, you're back in jail again.
Yeah.
And this is why people look at addiction and they're like, this is insanity. I mean, like why would someone do that? You know, someone that has the history. I mean, you know what? Trying to talk to loved ones and family members, trust me. I mean, you can imagine. I get the phone call all the time. It's like, look, they were doing so good. I mean, they had everything going for them, you know. There's actually, you know, in a lot of counseling worlds, they call this self-sabotage, you know. So here it is. 3 days later, you're back in jail. So take us for what happened next.
I do 40 days. I got contempt for cussing the magistrate, and then the rest of the time I had to do, and I went to the Christmas tree lot and sold some Christmas trees, made a fortune, and then I did good for, I guess, 3 or 4 weeks, and got tied up around the wrong crowd, and got back to drinking and doing drugs, and I got a bad phone call from someone. I mean, I'm not going to get into it over the radio, but got a bad phone call from someone, and I decided to be a vigilante and go take the law into my own hands, and they ended up coming to get me the next day. And
The law did?
Yep. And on a warrant, and I got into it real bad with them at the jail, and I kind of even knew it then, and it was God's way of backing me all the way in the corner and saying, okay, you're 40 years old, you know, you gotta make it or break it. And I put myself in a position with them, I assaulted one of them real bad, not a physical assault, but I mean, honestly, I spit on his badge. I mean, I'll tell it like it is. And, you know, I sit in jail. I had the money to bond out. My bond was high. And I told my dad, I said, nah, don't worry about it. I'll just sit here, and whatever God's going to do is going to happen. And
Spitting on a badge, that's assault, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that's as degrading as it gets. And
Assault on a police officer, which is even worse. So.
yeah, and I got respect for police officers. It's not like I'm just some guy that don't. I just don't have. I have no respect for corrupt ones at all. It's I don't. Ones they're supposed to be protecting the community, not hurting the community. And I'll leave that as it is, but not get into it. But I got an attorney, which happened. She happened to used to be the district attorney and had sent me to prison and everything, and now she's my defense attorney. She's a real good lady, but she was like, we got several judges, but one of them's real receptive to recovery and people that are caught up in addiction. And I'll brag on this Judge McIntyre. He was DA at one time, sent me to prison. But they were like, she said, if you'll go to a long-term treatment, I'll, he let you do it. And there was one place in Wilmington, and then they said she gave me the brochure for Freedom Farm, and
She gave you a brochure?
Yeah, some kind of thing. She brought it to me, and it was funny because about 8 years ago I went to a place in Naples, Hazleton, which is like one of the biggest recovery or treatment centers there is in the country.
Yeah, it pretty much is.
I got kicked out of there for getting drunk on New Year's Eve, and came back and I was drinking, and they're like, you got to go. And they said, well, if you want, back in your town there's a year-long place called Freedom Farm. That's the first time I ever heard of it.
That was 8 years ago.
Yeah, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to no Christian program they don't know anything about, I had that mindset. But I don't know, I was calm. I didn't worry about no year long. I was like, I knew that's what I needed, and I said, yeah, I'll do it. And the Judge McIntyre let me come that day, and we went straight to church that evening. And it was weird because it didn't hit me till after church, but I got out of Alexander close custody March 6th of 2006 when I was doing that 2-year sentence. And at the time, Alexander was a rough penitentiary, and I had every good intention the day I got out, doing good, and I was wild an hour after I got out.
Yeah.
As soon as I got away from my aunt, I didn't want to disrespect her. She picked me up. But when I came to Freedom Farm, it was March 6th. So it was like God was giving me a chance to restart that many years later. And I don't know, this is, I give it over to God, and I got baptized in April. I've been thinking about it a couple of years, but I just knew it was the right time to do it. But it's amazing because all we do is learn the gospel here, and everything in the gospel is the same thing, comes from AA, just at a way higher degree. And I've been through every recovery and treatment there is, and this has worked for me and the guys I'm here with that really accept it and let it go. That's working for them. Like I'm the DLC part now, and I'm exposed to alcohol, herbal. The people in the world, especially with the alcohol, they're going to drink. I can't tell another man he can't.
Sure.
But it doesn't. I haven't had one inkling to take a drink or anything. I know it'll come one day. There'll be something that'll pop up where I want to, but I got.
Just to clarify, what Jarrod is saying is that the third phase of the program, DLC, which is what he's in, he goes out and works, and he's in the world on the we don't have like a drone following you around, so you run into people and there's alcohol around and whatnot, and you don't have a desire to pick up a drink. He's not like you're living here and people are putting alcohol.
Oh no! I didn't mean to. I didn't mean that.
We got a break coming up, and then we'll come back and finish this story. So stick with us, folks, and we'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, I didn't want people to think like I'm just some
No.
wild man that gets into it wild. I just certainly.
But you are a wild man that gets into it all. Just kidding.
Corrupt ones.
Yeah.
They're supposed to protect us, not.
Affairs, run by Freedom Farm Ministries. Profits at Freedom Auto Check help men escape the bondage of drug and alcohol addiction.
There's our commercial.
Currently offering great factory scheduled maintenance specials. Located at 2480 Highway
You're doing great, man.
421 North. You can
When you
call
come back, we'll have 12 minutes,
443
and then we'll be done.
FreedomAutoCheck.com.
Larry and Sharon Crossett, owners
How's
and
Bill
agents
Fisher
of
doing?
Maxim Realty, are
He
the
is
high
covered
profile
up,
number
son.
one
I want you to
real
know.
estate
Yeah?
recognized as one of the
Yeah,
best
you-
I'm doing my job.
Larry
I'm
and
doing the
Sharon will market
newsman's
and
job.
sell
And this
property
week,
from
Mike
the
Kelly's
top
out, so I'm doing his job too.
Mike Kelly.
5964. Whether buying
been a
or
busy
selling
week,
in the
man.
high country,
Yeah.
call the best agents around to get you the best price. Call Maxim Realty.
I really appreciate your Sling Blade voice.
Yeah, buddy.
You do a good one, man.
That was Braxton's idea.
Well, no, it was actually Tony McCaskey.
Was it Tony's idea?
Yeah, and then I just wrote the script.
Yeah.
He just wanted to.
Well, you know, the Bagel Man stuff, that was not my idea either. That was Jason
Check out our
Ford's. He
national
wrote
bridal
this.
sale on in-stock
worked
bridal
here
gowns. Brighton
a long
Jewelry is the perfect
Yeah.
gift for all those special ladies in your life. New fall arriving.
you do a good
daily.
one.
Shop our summer clearance now for best selection at South Boom Mall.
Feeling right there,
What is it?
Jeff. Think so.
Oh, no. All right, folks, welcome back to Recovery Talk. I'm Jim Quigley, your host, and we've had Jarrod Banner on the show with us. We're ready to finish out your story here in a minute, but before we do get back into it, don't forget about our sponsor, Freedom Auto Tech. Freedom Auto Tech is a local shop here in town ready to service your vehicle. Give them a call, 828-355-4434. It's 828-355-4434. Don't forget, they're open Monday through Saturday, and you can get a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty on your parts and labor for the parts that are replaced at the shop. So that's a nationwide warranty also. So you can go break down in another state, and they'll fix your car if it's something that's covered under the warranty. Jarrod, so you have finally made it to this program that is right next to the county over from where you were born.
Yeah.
Okay, but you've been to programs all over, a lot in Florida, some in near the Asheville area, well, Black Mountain area. But you've been to some high dollar ones. Hazleton is not cheap. I mean, last time I know that I had a friend that went to there. It's like 30 days. It's like 30 grand or something like that to go to Hazleton.
Yeah, that pavilion is $1,000 a day.
Pavilion, there you go. So you've been to these places that cost $1,000 a day. So you said 8 years prior, someone had given you the number for Freedom Farm, this program, and you were like, "No, I'm not going to a Christian place in a year long." But lo and behold, this is what ended up becoming what fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you came here and tell us some things that you learned here that were different. So how was it that this place, do you think in your mind, has been the key to help you?
I went to a AA meeting just because I enjoy speaker meetings in the AA,
Mm-hmm.
and I've studied some of the history of the first AA, and I went to one over here in Boone. I'll keep it anonymous, I'm not gonna say which one or nothing like that, but the main person, for some reason or another, at the end changed their mind and said, "We're gonna close with the Lord's Prayer," and we did. And I went to the meeting a couple days later, and the topic was a higher power.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone spoke, and I couldn't resist it. I had to go there with it, and I never spoke about anybody else other than myself and Dr. Bob and Bill W. But I said, Jesus Christ is my higher power, and I said, everyone talks about a doorknob.
Mm-hmm.
That, if that's got to be your higher power, and use a doorknob on it. Well,
I've never understood that either.
I said a doorknob is a doorknob, but if you really want to look at it, Jesus Christ is the doorknob to get to God. You have to open the doorknob to get to God. You have to go through Him. But I find it funny that they closed with the Lord's Prayer. That was the original what they closed with.
Mm-hmm.
When they started AA, and I'd said the Lord's Prayer since I was a little kid. One of the first thing I was taught, even before they laid me down to sleep and all that. And I never knew it till I came here, that with one of the guys that's on your staff that helped explain it, that the Lord's Prayer is what the disciples asked Jesus Christ when he prayed every morning. When excuse me, when he go out before daylight, and he told them, "This is what I pray." And I just find it funny that is the main. That's what they close with, is what Jesus Christ. That's what he prayed to God, and you know, there's AA recovery, which is great. Yeah, it helps. I mean, it helps people. It keeps them sober, but it seems like a lot of them are that dry drunk, you call it. They're not happy. They're not. It's like they're miserable. I don't know. I'm happier than I've ever been. Y'all teach the gospel to us, exactly what Jesus Christ left instructions for us to live a normal life, and I don't know. My family's told me, and everybody else in the country, I don't know how you're alive. Like, and I look back and get cold chills on some of the situations I've been in. And you know, God left me alive long enough to. I mean, I'm not worried about helping myself. Maybe I can help somebody else, and especially, you know, all my friends' kids now. Older people I know, close family of mine, they're all addicted to this methamphetamine now. I mean, it's an epidemic. It's not. I know they're having an opiate epidemic all over the country, but the opiate epidemic hit here in the mountains back in the late 90s and early 2000s, and you know, it's like, I don't know, in these mountains everything's like 10 years behind or 10 years early the way they do it.
Actually, just to speak into that, I don't know if you know this, but I was in Kentucky Tuesday and Wednesday, and I was visiting a statewide program there called Recovery Kentucky. They have 19 facilities. They're half are women's facilities, half are men's. We actually visited a women's facility. Each building is like $6 to $7 million to build. They house about 100 women or 100 men. So I went to go visit yesterday, and one of the topics that came up was what you're just now talking about. They said, you know, it was the opioid epidemic, and they said, but we've seen a big shift in the last year or so, and it's now methamphetamine again, which it was before. Then the opioids took over.
Not at the level it is now, though.
And what's that?
Not at the level it is now.
Yeah, I mean, they said now it's just the methamphetamine is taking over. And you know what? The guys that helped start this Recovery Kentucky program, it was actually a former governor and his staff, of the former governor of Kentucky. And he said, you know what? This is the thing. In our studies, to get all this stuff done in this program, he said, it isn't the substance that we need to be looking at and focusing on fighting, right? Because it doesn't matter what the substance is, because once it's not the opioids, it's something else. It's just something. It's something replaced. It's the demand, and he goes, and we got to start addressing why is there a demand? Why do people want it? Why do people get in? And he says, and that is, we started off the show. That's when you get down to the root. It's like, why is it that, and again, I had said, you know, people have an inability, and this is a human struggle, right? People, not an inability, they struggle with how to deal with life, you know, and you know, how do I answer the questions that are gnawing at the core of my being? How do I interpret the bad things that are happening to me or the good things that are happening to me? And you said part of your story, right? You had everything going for you, and you decided, well, let me take a drink, and it just started the cycle back over, which would sound insane, but why is it that you thought that was a good idea, you know? Because you literally, I guarantee you, at that moment, you didn't say, well, I'm going to take a drink and ruin my life again.
Oh, no.
No, I mean, you're not thinking that way. But you thought that this would be a good idea at this moment.
It's a brain and medical thing as far as that goes, but it's the devil. It's all the dark energy of the universe that makes people do that. I mean, I've been up the road and back, down the river and back, and I don't know if this is a radio station, so if anybody's out there listening, if you got a family member or a kid, I don't know of any other ministry programs like this. I don't understand that there's not more of them. You know, and I mean, I've drove by that sign out there 100 times and wonder what is that. And I mean, I'm from here, and I didn't even know it was here. But you can send someone to treatment, this and that, and they'll learn the medical knowledge and the book smart. But unless you get to the root core of it, you're not going to get it. You put a Band-Aid on it, but no, you have to let Jesus Christ and God in your heart, or it's not gonna, you have no chance of fixing it.
That kind of gives me chills, my friend, to say that you've passed that sign, you've grew up in this area 100 times, wondered what it was, and here it was. The Lord blessed you and brought you here, and it became, I'm not saying of any of my doing. It's just we just help keep the environment for the magic to happen. So I'm glad that you ended up coming here, and I got to tell you, I got to brag on him because we're running out of time here, but I got to brag on my friend here. He's in the woods all the time, but he has given back to this program in ways that I've never thought anybody could. He's literally on our property right now, harvesting bark and splitting the profit with us to help raise support. He's telling everybody he can about us, and Jarrod, I really appreciate you and your hard work and your desire, and you know what? Who knows what the Lord may have? Maybe there will be more Freedom Farms in the near future. But look, folks, we've come to the end of the show. We hope to see you next Thursday. Jarrod, thanks again for coming on here and sharing it. He can't wait to get back in the woods and get back to work. So look, we'll be back with you next Thursday, 10:30. Don't miss it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
All done good.
Thank you, my friend.